Okay, never done this before, so I'm going to give it a go, alright? Never done a sort of cooking style recipe thing. Alright, what you need to do, start off with some garlic, but most importantly you've got to know what you're cooking, yeah? Today I'm doing a braised steak, tomato and onions. It's a slow cook, 4 or 5 hours, beautiful. Melts in your mouth, you can cut it with the back end of a spoon. It is a pricey meal, there are a lot of ingredients involved, but it's easy. Alright, so we start off with some garlic. Alright, I've gone half a full knob. Alright, I've top and tailed and peeled them, and now I'm starting to cut them. So alright, I've loosely chopped the garlic. Alright, it's probably not going to be enough, so I'll probably have to do more. But that's what you're wanting. Just like a rough consistency. You know, nothing too small, nothing too big. Doesn't really matter how big you leave it. You've got to cut the garlic though, but it makes for better flavour if you leave a few pieces bigger than most. Just really helps enrichen that garlic flavour. Handy little tip, when you're peeling your garlic and onions and stuff, just have a little tray right beside the cutting board. That way you can keep the cutting board nice and clean. Alright, when dealing with food, of course, cleanliness is a must. It stops any bad stuff getting in there that make you cook. Alright, so I've cut the garlic, I'll put it on a plate. Now I'm going to get some onions, and one I'm going to cut fine, the other one I'm just going to leave chunky. That gives it texture and flavour as well. Right, 2 onions, alright. Now I'm just going to move this camera a little closer so you can see how I'm doing this. Alright, so we top and tail them. Oh, and a little hint, whenever you're using a cutting board and knives, well, you've got to bear in mind that the knives are sharp, yeah. Put a tea towel down, slightly damp one. All I did was wash my hands and then dried them on a tea towel. Whoop. Give that a wash. Alright, thankfully it's still inside the skin, so we're just peeling that off anyway, so it won't matter that it went on the floor. And now it's Australia, 10-second rule. Alright, now here's a little trick I'm going to show you. Cut your onion like that, then like that. Alright, then we just go like that. And then down like that. What that does is it just gives you a little bit more accuracy with the cut. The last bit you just dice and shred, and it doesn't matter if it stays whole or you cut it a bit smaller, because I actually did it wrong. So the other half I'm just going to loosely slice. Then you can go like that. That'll help break up all the parts of the onion. Now it's important when you're doing this, alright, you cut your garlic, your onion, your tomato, all before everything goes in the pan. The way I do it like that is it prevents cross-contamination. And what I mean by that is, after I've done this, I'm going to be washing the board so I can cut the meat and trim the meat. It doesn't need to be trimmed too much, it is clean rump steak. Okay, I'm using about 2.5 kilos of steak. Right, so rather, like I said, an expensive meal, but it'll feed, based on 2.5 kilos of steak, it's approximately 6 slices. Oh, these onions are potent. Righto, so I've cut the onions, diced and then sliced. Now I've cleaned the board. Now what we do is we just top and tail the tomatoes, and we just slice them probably, I don't know, half a centimetre thick. Could go a centimetre thick if you wanted to. Now it's important that you don't sort of marry the flavours up before you put them in the pan. That way it just, yeah, I find it doesn't, the flavour of the onion doesn't get into the garlic and vice versa until you need it. Alright, now sorry about the sniffles, that onion was quite a potent little sucker. Now I'm doing probably, I don't know, half a dozen tomatoes. With these tomatoes, they're all garden fresh. They were grown by a relative, and they're beautiful Roma tomatoes. Now, Roma, as far as flavour, you don't get much richer than Roma, I reckon. They beat just the normal everyday round fat tomato, although the round fat tomato is really nice. If you're going to use them for this recipe, which you can do, you need them sort of not quite ripe, so they've still got that tinge of green in the skin. Just helps them, just helps with the flavour for some reason, I don't know why. But yeah, it's good, it's very good. He's done nearly. Righto, this is the business end. Alright, so I've cleaned this cutting board. Now I've got the steak. Alright, it's a fair whack, so I'm going to leave some over here, just so I can have a bit of room. I'll put these tomatoes and onions away, just bear with me. Now there's also another little trick I use. These little fellas here. Fresh chives. Alright, now I've cheated a bit. I bought them at the local Coles. And they go really well with it. Alright, so what we're doing is pulling each piece of steak out. Actually, these are pretty clean. Not much fat on them. You just loosely cut it off, because you still need a little bit in the recipe. It just helps it get that flavour, that goodness. Alright, now what we do, wherever there's a break in the meat, just cut it there or tear it apart. I usually just break it down to bits about the size of your palm. Alright, it just helps with the process. Where am I going to put? I'll put these scraps in the plastic bag. So what I'll do is I'll continue doing this until the steak's all done. Alright, so I've trimmed up the steak. I've put it into a large baking dish. Right, and as you can see, it's in there nice and tight. Alright, so then what we do, just sprinkle garlic in there. Now I do a little bit of cheating with this dish, because you can buy things that already have some of the ingredients in, but not in a concentrated sort of style. Now I find if you're going to cheat, right, now in no way am I endorsing certain brands, just the brands that I use. Alright, so we've got the garlic in there. Now what I usually use is the Ardmona rich garlic and onion. Alright, just gives it that extra kick to it. Alright, so now what we do is we just break up the onion. The reason we do the sort of two styles of the cutting of the onion is for texture mainly, and it gives the sauce that's going to come through it just that extra little bit of richness. Okay, so we're not really too worried about getting it all you know, cut to measurement and stuff like this. I mean, remember, I'm only just an Aussie bloke, knows a little bit about cooking. I've had no formal training, it's just stuff I've learnt over the years, you know. Usually if I can see it, I can make it. And the only reason I'm doing this is, I don't know, you know, my friends have been after this recipe for a while, or a couple of you. So we just spread the onion out, sort of roughly even. Wash your hands. Because you go to rub your eyes while you've got onion on your hands, what happens? It burns, burns, burns. That ring of fire, that ring of... You get the drift. Right, now we just pack the tomatoes in. Now just spread them out a little. I mean, you don't have to be surgically perfect with it. Because they're going to cook down anyway. Alright, so, ooh, perfect amount. Perfect amount. Now the next part of this recipe, it's the easy bit, really. Yeah, hard marinated tomatoes and onion and garlic. Now, when you're opening tins, I mean, a lot of people, I struggle with my fingernails because it sort of hurts a bit. Yeah, I'm a bit of a wimp. Just a butter knife, alright? Just peel it up gently, then stick the handle under. That way you're not damaging the knife. It just makes it a bit easier. Alright, so we completely remove the lid and put it over to the side because we don't want to cut ourselves. Now we just gently pour this in. Now this recipe will easily take the 2 tins. Alright. Now don't get rid of them, alright? Don't get rid of them. I'll show you why. Because when it comes to... Because you've got to add a bit of water to it. Alright, so yeah, you're thinking ahead of me now. Put the water in the tins. That way it gets out all the extra flavour and goodness. And just fill up any gaps. Now you sort of want to go for about 95% coverage with this, but it doesn't matter because you've got the knife and you just smooth it out, put it into the places where you need it. Right, it doesn't matter if it gets 100% or not, because you're putting other sauces in, don't forget. Alright. It's a bit of a concoction, this one. But it goes really good. And people with lap band, they can eat this. Alright? They think, oh no, I've had a lap band, can't eat it. Wrong, you can. Alright? Now this is another little trick of the trade. And this is Master Foods Worcestershire steak sauce. Alright? This is the extra bit of oomph. Now you should only need 1 bottle because it's pretty rich. Alright, just give it a bit of a spread out. Now you don't have to spread this one, it'll just cook down all the sauces. Whoops, what are you doing in there? Again, keep the bottle to the side because you're going to rinse it with some warm water. And I say warm water because it's easier, it gets in there and breaks it up a bit more. Now, bit of normal barbecue sauce. Alright, just bear with me, I know it's a lot of ingredients, but it's worth it, alright? And you give it a good coating of barbecue sauce. I just go across and then up and down, however you want to do it, it's up to you. But you want to get a reasonable sort of layer of barbecue sauce in there. About a third of a bottle, maybe half. Same again with the tomato sauce. Throw that to the side. I just go for the squeezy bottles because it's I reckon a little bit easier. Alright, now you're wanting about the same amount of tomato sauce in here as the barbecue sauce. And it doesn't hurt if you go a little bit more. Because we don't want really the flavour of the barbecue too much. So you whack in the tomato sauce. Okay, and this is what it's looking like so far. Good. Now, a little bit of this. Alright, steak sauce. Made by Fountain. It's good gear. But you only want a touch in here. You know, just a light drizzle. Actually, Fountain, if ever your creators are watching this, bring the steak sauce out in a squeezy bottle. Now, with this one, it's just a enhancer for the steak. Oh, goes so good. Good old Holbrook's Worcestershire sauce. Right, put a little bit in. Yeah, so it's a pretty wet sort of recipe. Yeah, basically the neck of the bottle, all you're after. Now a little bit of a kicker, I mean this is optional, this is purely optional, is your sweet chilli sauce. Now I love the sweet chilli sauce, I love hot chilli sauce, I love any sort of chilli sauce. I find the May Ploy, cooler. Right, yeah. Basically you just put a drizzle here, you know, just a few spots, you don't need to go nuts on it. And that just gives it an extra bit of sweetness and a little bit of a kick in the pants. Okay, so you only use about the neck of the bottle again. That's everything. Oh no, this one. Steak and onion, alright. This is a new thing for me, I haven't put it in here before. But it goes with the flavour. So what we do is we open them up. Oh, that smells good. Good on you, Master Foods. Alright, just a little bit of that. Alright, now don't forget salt and pepper. Freshly ground if you've got it. But you whack a fair whack in there, good teaspoon and a half, 2 teaspoons, I don't know. Who's measuring? Extra bit for luck. Alright, if you can't get grinder salt, normal salt will do. Whoa. Fresh ground pepper is a must. Alright, it can't be the black pepper that you buy instant, it's got to be ground pepper. Otherwise it just does not work. You whack a decent amount in. That's good. Now you're only going to need a little bit of water. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to half fill one of those tins and the steak sauce thing, and use that. Right, so I've only got the tin about just under a half full. Now be very careful with this section because it'll fill up quick. Not even going to use the whole, there's still a little bit left in the bottom. Alright, now the final ingredient, alright, the final bit. A splash of soy sauce, alright? This is just Fountain, it's just, yeah, one I found. Doesn't need to be any specific brand. Although a sweet, you probably want to go with salty soy sauce, simply for the fact that you want that extra bit of salt in there because the meat's going to absorb that. Alright, okay, so now we put it in the oven, it's done. Later on we'll get out some chives. Actually no, yeah, don't know. We'll throw a few herbs on top just for a bit of flavour. Not long before it's ready to be done. Now this will go into the oven. I'm going to give it about 3 hours on a very, very low heat. Somewhere around the 140, 150 mark. Alright, so it's in the oven. About 3.5 hours. Cook him till he's done. And whatever sides you want to do. I'm doing a carbonara pasta, some sweet potatoes, some mash, and some beans. And yeah, you just cook them up. Serve it up. Beautiful. Enjoy.